Hi, it's me, Novabug, back again. And yes, I've been asking people to ask me questions. I have questions, lots and lots of them. So bear with me on this one. This might be a long retro waffle. Normally I keep my waffles quite short, quite succinct, but this time it's going to be depending on how these answers go, because I've read through some of these already, and we'll start with a burp. Oh dear me. That's a good way to start a 500 sub special, isn't it? So I'm going to go through these questions, mentioning everyone. I'm also going to chuck in a couple of Brucey bonuses into this video. 2 VRs to Lawnboyspost and Infected Flinch as we go down the list and when we get to their names. So I'm going to keep checking down here as well, because I've got some questions on my phone down here, and I've got them here and on this pad, and I'm very well organised. But first, we'll start right at the top, and it's a decent first question, because it's a question that I've answered previously, but I like answering it. And this comes from Dave, Iamagamegeek, and Ollie Martin. They said the same question. Spooky. Why Novabug? Well, straightforward enough. As everyone knows, I'm a big Red Dwarf fan, and Novabug is an amalgamation of 2 of the spacecraft from Red Dwarf, Starbug and the Nova 5. Nova 5 being the ship that Crichton was serving on when he was found. So Novabug, it's Novabug. There you go. That's why. And I started using it when I'm not dropping pads. I started using it way back in mid 90s, late 90s. Yeah, late 90s. Sorry, in internet cafes for local co-op play. And then it just stuck. So it stuck, and then therefore Novabug was born. And second, these are all from Dave Iamagamegeek now. Why do you want a full Wii U power collection? Because the full collection that I'm going for is probably never going to come to fruition. That is the GX4000. Even though there's only 26 games, 3 of them are rarer than Rocking Horse Flying Poo. Not just normal. I'm not talking normal Rocking Horse poo. I'm talking flying Rocking Horse poo. In fact, it's unicorn poo. That's how rare they are. So I want a collection for a more up-to-date system, and I want a full one. I see Tootie's collection of the Master System, and I've seen. I was inspired by Finn Gamer and his collection of his Wii U. And I thought that would be quite cool. I do really love the Wii U. It's the first console in years I've really got on with really well, and just I think it's a genius piece of kit. Probably one of Nintendo's best since the SNES for me. Sorry, GameCube fans, but there you go. That's what I feel. So I would like a full collection for it, just for the hell of it. Do you have a favourite game? I do have a favourite game. That is Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo. Seiken Densetsu 2. Fantastic game. I could reel off loads of games. Wipeout 3 on the PS1. Dizzy the Ultimate Carton Adventure on Amstrad CPC. Pang on the GX4000. That is right up there. Probably my number 2, that game. But Secret of Mana is definitely my number 1 game. Where do you keep your games? Here. In the big tall storage shelves there, Gashead kindly donated to me, and the little one as well, which you just saw in the pictures. And finally from David, I'm a Game Geek. Do you collect games because of YouTube and to make videos? Well, no, kind of, but not really, because I used to have an extensive PlayStation, SNES and Amstrad collection way back before YouTube was even around. So I mean, we're talking 90s here, and I had over 50 SNES games, probably about 100 Amstrad games, and many PlayStation 1 and a fair few PlayStation 2 games as well, actually, considering. Many of that got sold away and traded off because I fell out of love with gaming. I went through a period from the PlayStation 2 as that was sort of coming into its twilight years. I fell out of gaming for that generation, for the 7th gen, and didn't really want it anymore. But then when I started writing for TPE, the Pixel Empire, a couple of years back now, it's been that long. Bloody hell, Tom, it's been that long. Wow. It just thought, well, why did I get rid of that collection? So I'm rebuilding the collection, and I've got most of it back now. It'll take me years to get the Amstrad stuff back, but for the PlayStation 2 especially, and of course then it led on to other stuff like, you know, I never had a 3DO, I'll get one, and the same goes for the Mega Drive. You know, I never had a Mega Drive back in the day. Why not have a few for the Mega Drive now? I don't want like masses and masses of games for these systems, but you know, a good selection I'm looking for. So it helps YouTube, certainly. It does. And I suppose because I'm not really, I don't particularly do standalone pickup videos. I normally do my pickups merged into, if I've got a subject to talk about like this, or I say I've been to an event or talk about that, I normally merge the pickups with something else, or like an event, like a holiday, like a Christmas present shenanigans, or a parcel opening, or an unboxing, or something like that. I very rarely do standalone pickup videos. So not really. No, Dave, I don't. Next contestant, please. Monkey Spaz 5000. He says, "Do you have a monkey in your pants?" No. And he also says, cheekily enough, Mr. James, "What one game on the CBC do you wish was as good as the ZX Spectrum version, the equivalent?" Okay, right. Hold my hands up. R-Type, which is one of my favourite games ever, and favourite franchises, was fantastic on the Spectrum. It really was. And it was pretty pants, monkey pants, on the Amstrad. So it's a shame that they, at the time, the Amstrad version wasn't as good as the Spectrum version. Because, of course, in due course, that was remedied with the remake for the Amstrad. And I think Batman was very good on the Spectrum as well, wasn't it? I'm not sure how it fared on the CPC. But that's it really, just that game, because I can't. Honestly, James, I haven't played that many Spectrum games or seen that many. Well, certainly not as many as the Amstrad and so on and so forth. So it just beat R-Type. Next person is Pete Snestastic. Who inspired you to make YouTube videos? I've spoken about this before. Initially my inspiration came from Steve Benway. Steve knows this. To make a response to his overview of the GX4000, and I wanted to do my take on it, and that's how it all started, just by doing that one video. And that video seemed to be popular for what it was. I mean, I was nothing then, and on YouTube, and I got talking to people, and then I made another video, and it just snowballed from there. And in them first few videos, I befriended Dave Lawnboyspost, who really took me under his wing, and he helped me. He didn't really help me on the technical level. He just helped me with, you know, what you're doing, mate, is really good. Keep it up. That kind of verbal support, kind of moral support. And then since then, so yeah, it was Steve Benway, Lawnboy, the two biggest inspirations. I suppose there was a fella that used to do, I'm not sure whether he's still around anymore on YouTube. He used to call himself the Royal Loco Maniac, and he did a thing called the 8-Bit Wars, where he would have the Commodore 64, the CPC and the Spectrum versions of a certain game, and then face them off together. That was really good. I really enjoyed his videos. I really should have a look to see if he's still around and posting. Him, probably, yeah, was a big hand in that. And of course, for the Amstrad stuff, Zypho, which I knew about Zypho previously because I've been on his GX4000 website for several years. So I was aware of Zypho on YouTube as well. So, them four, I would say. Oh, I answered that long. Sorry, Pete. Really long answer that. How has your YouTube experience been so far? All in all, pretty good. Pretty cracking. Met some fantastic people. Really friendly community. It's done my confidence a world of good. And since I've been using the internet for quite a while, before doing my YouTube stuff, and I was, you know, trolling, you know, whatever, ugh, blah, you know, whatever. Rinse, repeat, delete, fuck off. Blah, that's it. You know, the skin is a little. The skin breaks sometimes. I do bite sometimes, but it's quite thick. So yeah, pretty good so far. I haven't got any major complaints. What 3 computers consoles do you give you the most pleasure? over the time or right now? Because right now would be a different answer to over time. Right, I can say over the course of since I've been gaming. From a nostalgia point of view, purely it has to be the CPC and the GX. I'll put the CPC and the GX together as an Amstrad sort of amalgamation. The Super Nintendo is my all-time favourite console. I've always said that, so definitely that, and probably pleasure. See, I really the PS and the PS2 adore them, but I think the Wii U gives me more fun now than any previous console did before the Super Nintendo, before the PlayStation probably actually. Yeah, I would say that. So yeah, the SNES, the Wii U, and the 2 Amstrads. And where would you like to see your YouTube channel in 5 years? I would hope to be still doing it. I would hope that I would have a decent amount of subs and a decent amount of regular viewers to keep me on my toes. I'd like to see the original shows that I come up with be a little bit more popular, like Master Mindless, for instance. I'm kind of muted over it, the fact that its viewing figures weren't as good as I hoped it was, but it was great fun to do, and I will be doing Master Mindless too. Don't worry, we'll be coming back if you are a fan. I would hope I'd be doing the same stuff because there's so many games to go through with all the systems that I'm interested in. I just hope I'll be doing exactly the same stuff, and say 2,000-3,000 subs, I would be chuffed with that. That would be brilliant for me. That was from Pete. So, now, Infected Flinch. I've got a Brucey bonus for you, Dave. But I'll get your questions out of the way first. How did you manage to jump to 500 so fast? I don't know. You watch me. I don't know. Have you ever felt the need to touch a skunk? Strangely enough, no. And either the animal type or the illicit narcotic type. Haven't touched either. Don't want to touch either. In fact, if I had the choice to touch either one, I would touch the animal. It stinks less. Have you ever worn makeup and called yourself Christina? No. No, really no. Have you eaten a kiwi today? Well, I don't like kiwi fruit. Not native to New Zealand, so I don't eat the birds. And I'm not a cannibal either, so I'm afraid not. I haven't eaten a kiwi today. Sorry, Dave. Sorry to disappoint, mate. When are we going to touch each other again? I would recommend. I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend it. Yes, I would recommend touching Infected Flinch. I would recommend it. He's a lot taller than you think. He's a big lad. Not that way. I don't know, and I won't want to know. Thank you. Shut up. Digging a hole now. Probably sometime on the coast of Blackpool, maybe, possibly. Next question from Johnny Hart, Jumpman81, the artist formerly known as Jumpman81. Do you have a game that you always go back to, a go-to game? It is, yeah, but it's Burning Rubber. Again, it answers a lot of questions, that game, because it switches me back into the age I was then when playing that game on that console. And it's just a 5-minute blast on that, and I'm happy. I'm calm and I'm happy. So it's kind of the go-to game. It's a good game for me to prep for another game. If I'm not in the mood to game, I could slap Burning Rubber on, have a couple of laps, and then think, right, now I'm ready for a Mario Kart or Zelda or whatever, Metroid or Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I'm just popping names out of my head now. Metropolis86 says, what retro game would you like to see a HD remake of? Controversial. Has there been a remake of... I've just said Ghosts and Goblins, didn't I? Has there been a remake of it? It'd be interesting to see a remake of that, to see what they would do, wouldn't it? Boringly enough, I don't know. I really don't. Oh, I do want to see a remake of Final Fantasy VII. I do, but then again, I don't. If you understand what I mean. I'd like to see what they could do with it, as long as they kept it exactly the same, and they wouldn't keep it exactly the same, because what would be the point, from their point of view, what would be the point in keeping it exactly the same storyline, the same secrets and everything? That's what I would want it though. I want it exactly the same, just with shebang graphics and lip sync and voice acting and all the added bonus extras. But yeah, probably that. Final Fight would be pretty decent as well, done as not that horrible remake thing. That was rubbish. No, I mean 2D, a bit like Double Dragon Neon was done. I'd like to see that done to Final Fight. If it has been done, I have missed it. Odd Pod, Daniel, what was your favourite childhood toy? Go butts. Cause we wasn't. I was going to say poor there. That would be complete lie and pleading bollocks. No, I didn't have Transformers when I was a kid for some reason. We had GoBots. They were cheaper. I think that's probably why. So I loved them, and GoBots were my childhood toy. And I've still got a vast collection of them still hiding away somewhere, and I've still got to do videos on them. I keep forgetting to do that. AdiSneakerFreak, where are your Red Dwarf bobbleheads? Are they on display? They certainly are. They're right up there. 1, 2, 3. My Red Dwarf collection is up there. I can't turn on my camera at the moment or take a picture because there's loads of my daughter's birthday cards up there blocking the view, so it's totally pointless to do it. But they are up there on the shelf on display. Thank you very much, Malk, for sending me them again. Channel Swifto, would you like some toast? Very good. You see what you like? Listen, I don't want any toast. He doesn't want any toast. In fact, no one around here wants any toast. Not now, not ever. No toast. We don't like toast around here. Or muffins. We don't know no toast, no tea cakes, no buns, baps, baguettes or bagels, no croissants, no crumpets, no pancakes, no potato cakes, and no hot cross buns, and definitely no smegging flapjacks. You so knew I was going to do that as well, Swifter, didn't you? Hellfire! Hellfire 64. What system do you plan to expose Minibug to the first time around? Go for something in the current gen, or focus from here on now, or go old school and build the appreciation. Build the appreciation. I do that with my daughters. I get them to play I introduce them to the older systems. My daughter loves playing on the Amstrad. And the Super Nintendo, she's fascinated by that. The thing goes in the top, it's amazing. And she knows all the names of all the old systems, and I do exactly the same with Minibug, which is my son, by the way, if anyone is lost that plot there. Cheers for that, Rob. JL76 Gaming, my good friend John. Yeah. I remember him asking this, and I still didn't think about it. If you had to be a character in Mortal Kombat, what would be your special move? What would your special moves be? It has to be unique and not one already in the game. I don't know. Well, I'd be modelled off my logo, so I'd be like a muscular green Novabug alien with obviously a yellow shirt, because otherwise I would be killed by Patty if I didn't wear yellow. And I would I would transform their head into Alan Sugar's face, and then sort of like whip out a phaser, whip out the Magnum phaser from the GX one, going, "You're fired," and blow their head off with that. That was, I don't know where that came from. That was ping, straight off the moon, just like that one. Ping. It's a boomerang paper. Second question from John: If you had forced to name your son after a computer game character, what would you have chosen? So, right, naming my son after a computer game character. Fucking hell, I didn't think of that either. Good question. I mean, I can't say Cloud. I mean, that'd be so boring, wouldn't it? Say Cloud. Definitely not Mario. Fox McCloud. Fox Weatherly. Yeah. Fox McCloud. He's cool. Yeah, that's who it'd be. Peter Dickinson. What would be your dream interview? Dream interview. Oh, you mean to... Oh, right, okay, I see where you're going. Yeah, well, I've already mentioned him. Alan Sugar. I would love to interview him. I would grill him. I would put him on a bloody grill pan and fry him over the GX4000. I really would. And I want answers, Alan. I did tweet him, invited him to interview him, but unfortunately he was busy or didn't see it. More likely didn't see it. Never mind. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to interview Alan Sugar. And thanks for that, Pete. Neil Green, one of the Amstrad fans on the Facebook. What is your most prized retro game? Yeah. What's the most prized retro gaming in my collection? Sorry, my most prized retro. Right, okay, got it. My GX4000 collection, definitely. What do you think of the current surge in indie titles based off the retro era, i.e., right? Good, yeah, good question. Like them. I do like them a lot. Retro City Rampage, for instance, one of my favourite games at the moment is Resogun, which is basically HD on bleeding acid tits Defender, which is absolutely awesome. The upcoming game Drift Stage, that looks wicked. Love that simplistic look. That looks like Lotus Esprit, but really, really lovely. Yeah. Towerfall Ascension, Shovel Knight. There's loads of good ones. Loads of good ones. Yeah. Really do like indie games. And I do like the retro influences to them. I haven't got any negative to say about that, to be honest. All good. All good. Kevin Woolford, also from Facebook. He's also on YouTube as well. Of course he is. What am I talking about? The Woolford. If you had to remove a game series from existence, what would it be? That's an interesting question, because that's going to be similar to an upcoming Friday Foursome question. Slightly different, but whole game series from existence. Call of Duty. And I'll leave it at that. Sorry. But that's the way I feel. The game bores the hell out of me. Sorry. So it wouldn't bother me if it disappeared. Apologies. Yes, I can hear the hate now. That's the way I feel. Gotta be honest. Shock 16. Adam. Keep looking down here. So rude, aren't I? Would you rather have a Ferrari Enzo or a full GX4000 collection? It's obvious. I'd have a Ferrari, wouldn't I? Have the Ferrari, drive it around for a bit, sell it, buy the rest of the GX4000 games, even the rare bastard ones. I'd just offer ridiculous money. Here's 10 grand for Chase HQ 2. Why not? And then have a massive holiday, big house. I mean, Ferrari Enzo. It's a ridiculous amount of money, that car. I don't need a car like that. Have a bit of fun with it, flog it on, get the GX4000 collection, house, another decent car. Is that a cheating answer? I don't care. If you were to invent a new console, what would you call it, and what would the games? What games would you have for it on launch? The GX 10,000. You could have it would be fully backward compatible, because it would have a cartridge a cartridge slot, a 3-inch disc in the side, tape deck as well, cassette, and Blu-ray in the front, right? So it'd be fully backward compatible with all the previous Amstrad formats. It would have HD remakes of the first Dizzy game, Manic Miner, but also done in 3D as well, and top-down. It would have various different versions of Chase HQ, a full built-in game library of all the previous GX4000 games, and you would also get given a editing program where you could take an existing retro game, say from the CPC, the Speccy, or the Commodore, or the Ataris, or the Micro, and you could reprogram them into the system to create the game how you want it to be. That'll do. So, moving on. Right, Blutonic78. He's got some lengthy questions here, but I'll try and shorten them. Like he has a fondness for GX4000 such as I, because he was duped into buying or having bought for me one at Christmas, largely thanks to the Amstrad Action praising it to the hilt, which they did, which I've already covered on a Amstrad Action special that I did. Basically saying that he doesn't think that Chase HQ2 is part of the collection because it's basically one person's word to say that it exists, and a mail order advert. So he doesn't consider it part of the full collection. He says if when he got a full collection of GX4000 games without Chase HQ2, would it bug me, Roan, that Chase HQ2 is missing from the library? Yes, it would. It would, because unlike you, Blutonic, I do consider it an official game. I have seen it. I not physically, obviously, I haven't seen it, but I've seen the case of it. It does exist. It was. I don't know whether it actually was officially released, but it did exist. It does exist, and it is out there. And it's not a copy. It's not a bootleg, as far as I know. As far as the Zypho knows, and a few of the Amstrad CPC community guys know as well. So yeah, it would bug me that it's missing. But I would be happy. I would be happy if I had a bootleg of it in the collection, and I could repro the cover and everything. That would count. The same would go actually for Skeet Shoot and the Enforcer, because they're so rare. What are some of your favourite games on the trusty old Amstrad? Well, I've mentioned loads already, but Batman, all the Dizzy games, Manic Miner, some of the Amsoft games I really like. Tornado Low Level, great game. Oh, goodness, Power Drift, pretty good. Shinobi, fantastic. Batman the movie, Batman the Cape Crusader, or good reel off, just Xenon, like that. What was the Kane? Oh, loads, so many to mention. I was going to say. I don't know why, but I was just about to say the Galactic Plague there. I have affinity for it. I don't know why, but it's really not that good. Fruit Machine. I love Fruit Machine. Amsoft Fruit Machine. I think it's fantastic. Some of the adventure games on it as well. Kick-Off on it is good. The football management games, memories with them, brilliant. Could go loads. I better stop now because I'll keep going on for ages. As a kid, I wasn't bitter about owning CPC compared to Spectrum and CCC4 owning Friends. Neither was I, actually. I was very proud of my CPC. And the same, he wasn't bothered about having an ST when other people had an Amiga or a SNES instead of a Mega Drive, much like myself. Never had an ST, but I did have a SNES instead of a Mega Drive, but I always thought it was the superior machine anyway, so that didn't bother me. Right, basically what he's saying is I, like myself, wasn't bothered about other people having the machines, but he's talking about the modern hatred between systems, loyalties. For instance, Xbox versus PlayStation, and he thinks it seems ridiculous why people take it so seriously, and especially when they basically look and perform the same. Yeah, I agree with you there, Blue Tonic. It is stupid. I think we're all part of the same community, and you might have your loyalties in a specific format. You might prefer that version over another version, like we all do, but at the end of the day, we can all discuss, all have a bit of banter. It should never be serious. It should never go to ridiculous lengths of utter sheer stupidity and hatred, because that for me, that has no place in video games. We should all be good to each other, be excellent to each other, as Bill and Ted said. That's just all right. And finally, everyone loves music. I don't. No, I do. What are some of your favourite bands and or solo artists, past or present? Well, Prodigy, 808 State, Apollo 440, The Chemical Brothers, Muse, Iron Maiden, Pink Floyd. I've got such an eclectic mix of genres and tastes of music, electronic, dance, rock, heavy metal, loads of stuff. As long as it's not crap hop. That's the only music I don't listen to. R&B, I mean it's modern R&B rubbish, chart pop crap. Don't listen to any of that. It's all bollocks and all manufactured by some suit. Yeah, there you go. And my favourite ever band is Orbital, because they are awesome. And right, next question from Lawnboyspost1975. Excuse me. What was the naming process behind your son's name? Well, Dave, it was basically the fact that we couldn't agree on a name. I kept coming up with different names like Harrison, Spencer, Emmett. These are the names I was coming up with, and Steph was coming up with names like Isaac, Oliver, things like this. And we didn't agree on the names, and I think when we come across, when we I think it was one of us suggested the name Logan, and we both sort of simultaneously looked at each other and went, like that. I especially like that because it's Wolverine. So there you go, that's why my son is called Logan. And additional question there from Lawnboy Post, because he also says in one of his videos previously, do you have as much fun on YouTube as you did when you first started? Now, being quite a young channel, I'm not even 2 years old yet, I'm having more fun now than I did when I first started. I think I'm in that sort of element area at the moment. I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm enjoying making videos. I'm enjoying the interaction. I'm enjoying everything about it at the moment. And yeah, I can understand why some people get tired of it. I can understand why the interest might wane a bit, but for me, I'm having a life of Riley at the moment on it. I'm really enjoying it. So thank you, Dave, for that. More questions, here they come. Another serving of questions. GameNotLoaded. Do you think you look like a celeb? I don't think I do, but people have said that I look like Guy Ritchie. My father does look like Chris Tarrant, so therefore people go think I look like Chris Tarrant. No, I don't think I do. I wish I had his bloody money. And there, I think somebody said that I look like some cast member from Emmerdale years back, but as I don't watch soaps or I have no interest in anything of that genre or television at all in that matter, wouldn't have a clue at all. So if I do, point them out for me. I look like Tootie. Me and Tootie Tootie's a celebrity. Is this a YouTube celebrity? I suppose he is. There you go. Me and Tootie, we even have matching wrinkles on our foreheads. But he's a lot taller than me. And also, do you know the answer to the question, how long is a piece of string? Well, that piece of string is as long as you want to cut it, isn't it? You cut your cloth accordingly. But as for the answer, yeah, I do, but I'm not going to tell you. Nobody keeps his secrets. Gruss Newton. Where do you find the time to play games with a job and family? Very difficult. Very difficult. Very sporadic. Especially when I'm making this as well. I think that goes down to another one of your... Yeah, another associated question here from Gruss. Where do you find the time to make YouTube videos? So I'll merge them two questions together. Most of my YouTube videos are recorded in night time. So between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock, 2 AM, as some of the guys from Retro Unlim will know that I stay up in the wee hours. Normally filming something, doing a gameplay. If I'm not, I'll be playing a game. When I have a day off, I'll find time to get a couple of hours on a system. I'll just pick a game, pick a system, and say, "Yep, I'm playing that today." I had a quick hour earlier on Smash Brothers today, and then I'm doing this. So kind of a balancing act, mix match, and then it's work again tomorrow. Same old. Come back, tidy the house, see the kids. If I weren't working, I'd be helping out with the kids, of course, and homework at the weekend. And it's a balancing act, and it's tiring, and but you know, it's life, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's stressful, but it's cool. And another one from Gruss. The longest time it took you to track down an Amstrad game. Well, ongoing still, I suppose. But I suppose if it's a GX4000 game we're talking about, I wanted No Exit for a long time, and I did get it, and I got it from America, which is really weird because the machine wasn't released in America, but it was boxed and it had instructions, and it came all the way from Texas, and that was several years. Well, not several years. I mean, I was looking for No Exit for. Well, it was released in '91, and I got it in 2000. Beginning of last year. So 23 years. There you go. Right, now next question is from Mr. Retro Unlim himself. Steve, how do you maintain a balance pleasing both your family, work life and hobbies? Pretty much answered this before. Most of my time does go to work, unfortunately. I don't want it to. It organically happens like that because it has to. It's a shitty, long, shifty, jobby thing that is needed to be done for spondoolies. So most of it goes there. Most of it goes to the buses, which I so wished it didn't. I would want it to be more focused on family primarily. An extra bit of time towards this as well. But it is what it is. So when work isn't playing a part, yeah, planned days with family are always key, especially with friends as well. That's something I don't do enough of. I really don't do enough of because I just don't have the time. I think that's probably what I sacrifice for family and gaming and YouTube, is spending more time with friends, which is a bit of a disappointment. I don't want to do that. It just happens. My good friends don't live too. My friends away from YouTube, should I say, don't live too local to me. Only one does, and he has a difficult job as well, where his times don't really match up with mine, and blah 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 blah. So it's a pain in the arse, and it's a balancing act, which is not a great one. But yeah, it is what it is. So as and when, it's just a case of as and when I can do things, I will do it. And then, because I'm not really big, I don't sleep a lot. I should sleep more. I should definitely sleep more. But again, I think I sacrifice sleep as well to do this, to game and to do YouTube. Is that pretty unhealthy, really, isn't it? Yeah, makes me happy. SoulFunkRetro. If you could have an arcade machine, what would it be? Well, could I cheat and say I want a main cab, like loads of you've got? I love a main cab. Wouldn't have nowhere to bloody put it in here though. I will be building myself a main cab one day. Out of that computer probably. But if it was at one game, Chase HQ. Yeah, probably Chase HQ. Oh, I don't know, R-Type. It's tricky. No, sorry, I would have the tabletop Space Invaders that we had when I used to live in a pub, when my dad owned a pub, and he had tabletop Space Invaders. That was fantastic. I would have that back, definitely. That would be just, it'd make me smile every morning I'd see it. It would make me smile. A bit like when I walk out the door and see my bright yellow car. Makes me smile. I like things that do that, where one of your acquisitions Just by looking at it, makes you smile. HerbiassdoubleOseven says your most hated / overrated game series. Well, I've already mentioned COD, so I'll say that again. But I don't really hate it. Really, I don't hate it. I don't like it. I don't hate it. Overrated. COD is definitely overrated. I think Battlefield is massively overrated. I think a lot of FPSs are overrated, to be honest. Most of them. And I know people are going to be upset when I say this, but I think Pokemon is overrated as well. I mean, I'll hold my hands up and be honest. I've never been a big Pokemon fan, and I can see the appeal, but it's got a lot of following, a massive hardcore following, and I don't get that with that game. And there's so many different. I mean, how many versions of it now? 30. I don't hate it and I don't dislike it. I'm just saying it's probably overrated. The Metal Gear series is probably overrated now as well, unfortunately. And that's a game series I love, but overrated certainly. For me, that's my opinion only. Pattimus, she's given me a whole list of questions here, so bear with me here. Me and Patty are just going to have a quick loving. Predictably away from gaming. Ever puke in public as an adult? Brackets, not in a public bathroom, but out in the world. If so, where and why? The why bit is easy, isn't it? The why bit is too much alcohol. I don't know why. People never see me drinking alcohol. I don't. Must have been a one-off. Anyway, there was a time when I went in. No, that's in a public toilet, isn't it? Shit. Can't do that. Oh yeah. Actually, no. Yes. Actually, the one time I do remember, it wasn't alcohol related. It was a reaction. This was a couple of years ago now, and it was another one of my ill-fated attempts to quit smoking. Back then, and one of the other drivers gave me a gum. Gave me some Nicorette gum. It was something along those lines, but it was like a strong one. And he said, "Oh, this stuff's really good." And sorted me out, and I said, "Well, I don't really get on with the gum." He said, "Oh no, this stuff's different. This stuff's different." All right, I'll give it a go. So I got back to one end of the trip I was on at that time, Mount Vernon Hospital. I thought, yeah, I've got one trip to go back to Harrow. So I thought, sod it, I'll chew it. So stuck it in my mouth, started chewing. Didn't do that. Left. Got down the road, and the back of my throat just started tingling, and I started to gag and heave, and I thought, well, this thing's... No, it's just making me heave. It's repulsive. The strength of it was just awful. It was horrible. And I just thought, I'm going to be sick. It's going to make me sick. It was like when you get that congealed, rotten tobacco smell, which is with dirty water. A lot of people do that to sort of quit smoking. They put those cigarette butts in beer or something, let it congeal and stagnate, and it's a horrible, rotten, smoky tripe of a smell. But this was like in the throat, and this was gum, and it was so I had to pull the bus over, jump out the bus, and be sick on the side of the road. Luckily I had no passengers on board, but I'd stop the bus and be sick. So that was probably it. It was it. If you could ride any animal into battle, the animal is invincible and cannot be harmed, no worries, what would it be? And bonus, what would be your war cry? It would be a griffin. You didn't stipulate, Patty, that it's a real animal or a mythological animal. So I'm going for mythological animal here. It would be a griffin, because griffins are hardcore. Love them. Love griffins. Favourite mythological animal. War cry. War cry. I want to think of something abstract, probably. I don't know. Zylog. Zylog! There you go. Anyway, back to Earth. How often do you sanitize your keyboard? Next question. Most disappointing game you have ever played and why? Now that would probably be many games. Oh, terribly disappointed with Bart's Nightmare on the SNES. Was upset with that. I thought that'd be a lot better than it was. Mortal Kombat on the SNES because the blood's missing. That disappointed me. The game's really good actually, but disappointed me. Many different arcade ports on the Amstrad, which were like, oh my shit, this is terrible. Outrun is one. I think the most disappointing game was probably a collection of games. Again, it's GX4000. He knew I was going to do that. The ones that are shovelware, the games that are basically CPC games on a cartridge, they were disappointing. They were disappointing. Operation Thunderbolt was a prime example of that, because the GX4000 could have done it much better, and it didn't, and it was shovelware, and it's very disappointing because I paid top bloody dollar for it. So there you go. What playground equipment was your favourite when you were a kid? The slide. I loved the slide. It was always my favourite. But it depended on what playground you went to, because some playgrounds had different things. I mean, I remember one playground which had this huge slide. They wouldn't make a playground like this anymore. Not in this modern day with PC Brigade everywhere. This slide was fucking huge, and it had a wooden cage at the top of it. I mean, there must have been about 20 steps. It was massive. It had a double bump. It was when I used to live in Lincolnshire. It was at Curtain Park. It was shit. I loved it. Loved it. And it also had one of them witch's hats roundabouts. I don't know what you would call it. They're just really dangerous. You wouldn't have. I've never seen one in the last 10 years. They probably decommissioned them all because they were like, you know, crushing kids' heads and shit. Because they were like massive, great metal frames in the shape of a hat in a triangle, in a triangular prism, and it would swing like this and spin around, and there would be injuries everywhere. Great fun. Great fun. Favourite album? That is that one. That is The Middle of Nowhere by Orbital. Fantastic album with very minimalistic cover art. So minimalistic it's got nothing on the inside either. But the contents of the CD are wonderfully. Where am I? Do you like ducks? Do you think they like you? Yeah, I like duck. I like it. I like duck with orange sauce, pancake. Lovely. Bit of salad. Yummy. And I think for the same reason they probably don't like me. What condiment do you use the most? And do you use it because you love it, or do you use it because it's there? Pepper. I have got to have black pepper on nearly everything. Love it. I just like I like sneezing. I don't like sneezing. If I had a choice between salt and pepper, and you can only pick one, it'd be pepper. I always pick the pepper. Pepper on rice is really nice. Rice is nice with pepper. On roast dinner, on lasagna, cakes. No, I don't have on cakes. But yeah, pepper on everything. A bit of cheese on toast. One of my favourite snacks. A bit of toast, grilled. Some extra mature cheddar on top. Pat, you're going to drool at this. Extra mature cheddar on top. Little dabs of Worcestershire sauce, and then a light sprinkling black pepper, grilled. It's food of the gods. It really is food of the Novabug gods. Is there a specific subculture away from the 80s retro tech / football and blah, blah, all the stuff I'm interested in? Not really that interested in football really, but yeah, I know you're going on that. That you still find fascinating away from that? Yeah, I like the because I missed it. I think I thought the rise of rock in the 70s. That would have been amazing to experience. Crazy stuff, but real. It looked like it would be a lot of fun, and very educational as well. And the other thing would be obviously is space travel. absolutely blown away by space travel and anything to do with off this world, off this ethereal plane. I want to go into space. It's one of my bucket lists. It's a bucket list that will never be completed. You know, this is a bucket list that has complete GX4000 collection, go into space. Which one do you think is more likely? Yeah, you're right, going into space. Ever had a flu shot? I can't remember. I think I have, but I don't think I can remember. I don't know. When you have a scab, are you a picker, or do you leave it alone? Have you seen the state of my hand? Look at this. Look. Yes, I pick. Oh, I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. My legs are terrible. I've got scars everywhere. But yeah, I can't help it. I pick badly. I gnaw my dead end skin and nails. Ooh, nails. Yeah, I pick. I shouldn't. When I'm very susceptible to insect bites in the summer, and they scab, and I will scratch and pick the scab off, and then it gets worse and it gets infected and it blows up and I end up with a great big bleeding bite scar when I shouldn't. If I'd have just left it, it would have been fine and probably returned to normal. So stupid, really. But yeah, really got to leave them alone in future. And another one. Is this the last one from Patty? No, one more. What's the most terrifying word in the What's the most terrifying word in the world of nuclear physics? Creationism. Imagine if it was true. It was fair. Fucking hell. All that work down the pan. If I was to challenge you to a duel, what would you use as your weapon? Feather duster. I did have an answer for it. You know what? I had an answer for this and I completely forgot it. It would be a tranquilizer gun. Because then I could just, like, you know, duel over and you wouldn't be harmed. You'd just be fall into a nice little land of moose sleep. Tranquilizer gun. Sorry, Pay. Retrogame Crusader. Moving on. Apart from collecting games, have you collected anything else? Can be anything from when you were a lad or now. Well, my Red Dwarf collection up there, all the Red Dwarf books, all the Red Dwarf VHS tapes and DVDs and audiobooks, and a few memorabilia as well. So, yep, Red Dwarf big. I mentioned them before, GoBots. Got loads of them. I've got about 60 of them in a box somewhere. I've really got to sort them out. The only one I had out that I sent on to Dave. But I've got to track them down. And when I was younger, I used to collect the Beano comic as well. But that collection, I have no idea where it is. I think it's in a box somewhere in my dad's garage, possibly. I'll have to track that down too as well. I think it'd be nice to relive that. I had a massive collection of the Beano comic libraries with the little books with one standalone story in them. They were fantastic. I had hundreds of them, hundreds. Very good. RetrogamerVX. Thank you very much, Stephen, for the invasion a couple of weeks ago. What question would you like to ask? Would you like me to ask you? And if I did, what would be the answer? Well, no one's asked me what my favourite colour is yet, because it's just a simple, easy, stupid question. So Stephen says, RetrogamerVX says, what is your favourite colour, Novabug? And Novabug says, it's not yellow. It's blue. I don't know why I throw that away. I've got still got questions on it. Right, last couple of questions now, and this is from Dancentral. Daniel, and he's given me 5 questions, and then we're going to move on to an extra bonus video response at the end, going back to Infected Flinch's question, which will come in a minute. Went really high there. Dancentral, what is the most beautiful piece of video game music you have ever heard? For example, he gives examples here. Shenmue is stunning, for example, especially tracks like Rain, Sadness, Hopes and Tears of Separation. The whole soundtrack, do you mean, Dan, or just one track? I think if we're talking soundtrack, I think the soundtrack to Castlevania 4 is amazing, bar none. It's the when I played that game first on the Super Nintendo, it was the music on it was awe-inspiring. Loved it, and still that's probably one of my favourite soundtracks. I do like the soundtrack to Star Fox / Starwing, and of course many RPGs as well, like Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 9 I'm going to say, because I actually do really like the theme, the grittier theme to Final Fantasy 9. Final Fantasy 7's fantastic, 8's good, 10's fantastic as well, they're all good. Zelda, oh bloody hell, I'm reeling them off now. But I'll stick with Castlevania 4, Super Castlevania 4. Are you a fan of video game remixes? Right, so I'm assuming they're the classic game given a little bit of an extra polish, but not actually a remake. I'm assuming that's what you mean, Dan? Like the Sega Classics version of Golden Axe, which turned the sprites all 3D, something like that. I like that with them. I think I'd give them a look, but I wouldn't specifically say I'd be in love with them, especially if they sort of ruin the ambience of the original game. So, but I'll give them a play, and you know, if they do a good job of remixing, then yeah, fine, all good. I have recently bought a new Nintendo 3DS. Well, that'd be a Nintendo new 3DS. Good naming there, Nintendo. New model which they've recently brought out. Have you seen them, and what are your thoughts on them? Well, I think they're rather sexy. I love the Super Nintendo, European and Famicom Super Nintendo button colour configuration on it. I think that is fantastic. Love little nods to nostalgia like that. Well done, Nintendo, on that. Not sure what to make of that little nub thing. The C-stick, is that what they call it? I haven't handled one, so I'm not sure. I can't tell. But I do want a 3DS. It's one of the consoles on the list to get, and I will be picking one up probably in the next year or so. And it will be a new 3DS because that's the one that's out. I'm not too bothered about whether it's a limited edition or not. I mean, I saw loads of people recently been unboxing the Majora's Mask one. It looks lovely, but not really that bothered. If I can get one then it's a standard, fine. Then if I can get one with special edition, and equally fine. All for a good price, of course. But yeah, I like it, and I probably will get one very soon. Fourth question from Dan. If you could go back in time, what day would you go back to, and why? Doesn't have to be just for video game nostalgia. It could be for several different things. When a console game has been the latest fashion in everyone else's system or playing, or could you be there for non-gaming relating childhood memories? Oh, it's a tricky one, that, Dan, isn't it? Oh, in my early adult life, there would be a day I'd go back to, just to see whether something happened. I'm not going to go into detail here because it's quite personal. But something happened, apparently, and I've always assumed it was true. But there's always been a bit of a doubt in my mind whether it was true. So I would love to go back to the point where this incident happened and see if it was true. If you follow. Sorry I can't lay on details because it is personal. So, but yeah, I was told something that affected me quite seriously, and I have always had a suspicion that it may not be true. I've always believed it has been true, so I would just like confirmation on that. Silly, really. To be honest, any other day, if it was for gaming or anything like that, I don't think I would now. I don't think I would. I might go back to maybe November. Well, no, probably not November. Probably about February, 1991, and this can go around every single shop and buy every single GX4000 game I could possibly find, because they'd be worth a fucking fortune now, wouldn't they? Unless they do that thing where you come back to the present and then turn into dust, a bit like, you know, what happens in Red Dwarf. And finally, for the normal questions, I think, thank you very much everyone for all these. Last one from Dan. If you could transport yourself inside any video game and experience its environment for yourself, what game would you choose and why? I think I've already answered this on a previous VR to Patty. I would go, yeah. Oh, I did say it was Final Fantasy VII at the time. I did say that, but I think I would probably go for something like a singular thing where you're the hero and that's it. Everything relies on you and it's death or glory. So, and it would be really, really cool to fly the R9 Arrowhead, wouldn't it? So just for the fact that I would want to fly the R9 Arrowhead, it would be R-Type. So that's all the questions. Thank you very much, guys. Loads there, haven't even counted them. I hope my answers were fun or boring or whatever. But I do hope you've stuck with me all this time. It's been a while, hasn't it? Blimey, what's the time? What's the scores on the doors? Over an hour. Wow. Sorry. Shit. But anyway, quickly boss this out. Shh. Quick insert here. Forgot a question. Oops. Sean Reynolds, Funnyblinder, Xbox Gamer, he also asked a question, but he asked it on my Facebook, so I missed it, so my mistake. No bug mistake. Anyway, he asked, what was the first game I ever played? Straightforward, I've answered it before, but it's always a good answer. It is Kung Fu Master. It was the first game I ever played on arcade, and it's the reason why I picked it for Tubers High Score Challenge earlier last year. So, shh, extra question, that was it. Now, get lost. Right, yes, okay, yeah, Dave said, breathe, don't and ah, don't and ah. Always try and teach myself that, never do it. Deep breath. Dave made a tag response question where he asks several questions, but mostly, I've forgotten the tagline now. You can't take it with you. That's what it was. You can't take it with you. So he said he was getting rid of collections and stuff and parts of his collection because he thought, well, you know, at the end of the day, tomorrow I could drop down dead. Well, to be honest, I can see where it's come from, but that's a bit morbid. I don't generally like to speak like that. I've traded off stuff for reasons that I'm not fearing my own mortality. But I see your point. I think, though, that there's a gap between... there's a finite gap. You don't know what it is. I mean, there's a gap between now and there's a gap between your death. You've got to fill that gap with something. Fill it with an interest. And my interest is games, like a lot of you are. So why not make a collection? That's the answer to that for me. But to extemporise, he has some questions to go with it. And the first one is, do you struggle buying games? And why? Well, primarily I do. First releases, certainly. Retail copies straight off the shelf, that kind of thing. Don't generally buy them a lot. Purely financial. It's purely financial. I mean, I want a lot of games that come out. I mean, the last game all the new games I've got basically are presents. I wait for like birthday and Christmas to come around and say, oh, give me that. And someone kindly does. Last full price game that I paid for outright with my own money was Mario Kart 8 when it came out on day of release. I pre-ordered that. It was the first pre-order I'd ever done. But most of my games come from bargain hunting, they come from charity shops, they come from eBay bidding and various different sources, and I try and get the bargain prices for things that I'm interested in. I don't generally buy anything if I haven't played it, but if it looks interesting and I haven't seen it before, or it's something I have seen before and want to relive, then I'll generally get it. But for struggling, yeah, it's all to do with money. I would never, if I had money on tap, I wouldn't struggle because I would find a way, and I've got inspiration to buy them, so that kind of thing wouldn't be a problem. Have you regretted trading in a game? Yes. Well, as I've reiterated in this very video previously and previous videos as well, I sold off a lot of my old SNES collection and PlayStation collection, but if I could focus on one game, which I will do in this instance, it would be my boxed copy of Secret of Evermore. Mint in the box. I broke the seal when I bought it and played it, and it was in absolutely excellent condition, and I wish I never got rid of that. Sold it for a few quid, but I wish I never got rid of it, because I thought, what a fantastic game, sort of a spiritual sequel to Secret of Mana. So I do regret that. I do regret that, and that will pop up soon in another video. So keep watching this channel. Do I play game? Would I go back and play a game again if I had not experienced it before? Knowing nothing of it, like an old classic which I love now. If I knew nothing about it, would I play it again? Would I choose to do that? Yes, I would. I would love to do that. I'd love to re-experience from scratch a game that I love now, Final Fantasy VII, for instance. Well, it'd definitely be a story-driven game, but Secret of Mana will definitely be the one. I mean, I've played through Secret of Mana so many times, but to go back and knowing no clue what it was about and then pick it up and play it, blow my head off. Even as an adult, I'm sure it would, because it's a wonderful story and a wonderful game. So that would be that. And what console would you have buried with you in your coffin? So this is assuming that I don't want to be cremated. Well, you know it would be, don't you? Because it would have to be. Novabug with his GX. It can't be any other way, can it? So, anyway, that was an extra Brucey bonus there for Dave, VR to his. I've got to tag some people now. Who should I tag? I will tag Retro Dave Nintendo. I will tag Tutu UK if he's got time to do it with his tuber of the month, and I'll just do 3, and I will also tag Softer Taco, just for the hell of it, because I've never tagged Anthony, so I will. There you go. That'll be interesting to see if they make videos on that. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for the questions. It's been a blast answering them. Thank you for sticking with me through this quite lengthy video, especially for my standards. I normally like to keep them quite brief, as I said at the top of the show, at the top. But yeah, 500 subs, blown away. Slubs? What's a slub? 500 subs, blown away, fantastic. I wouldn't have thought that I would have got to $500,000, half a bag of sand, as the other video says, in less than 2 years. So it's I'm really humbled and really appreciative of everyone who watches my stuff and comments, and likes, and continues to watch my shit. That's what I make it for. To hopefully bring a smile to your face. So thank you for questions everyone, love you all as always, and I will see you very very soon. Novabug out.